course that took a lot of practice.
Contact hits when possible.
In fact, nunchucks are difficult to use. When you kick someone with it, it goes back where it came from. Even though Keanu is a trained fighter, it took him months to learn the new skills he needed for Chapter 4. Training, eating, sleeping, and repeating. But the actors are always looking forward to new challenges, and Keanu and his friends are happy when the John Wick movies get more deadly. Or here, where Keanu jumps through a window.
Action!
On TV, it looks very intense, but in real life, it's more like hanging out at a theme park. Even though this might seem funny, there was a lot of real pain on the set. For instance, during Chapter 3's hard training, Keanu accidentally kicked his buddy where it hurts the most.
I kicked someone in the balls. But
don't worry, he didn't mean to do that. Keanu was just too into the role he was playing, but that was nothing compared to what Keanu and his friends went through while shooting Chapter 4. Dog training is another example of a crazy training lesson. In John Wick, there are many scenes like this one where pets show how much they love Keanu.
I'm up.
Now, many movie fans know that shooting times like that can be a nightmare because, well, puppies don't care. If they don't do what the production team wants, they can mess up a lot of takes. So do you want to know the secret behind how those scenes were put together? What? Easy. The film crew put bacon grease on Keanu's face. Sure enough, the dog was just eating breakfast. Obviously, it was much easier to get a grown dog to lick Keanu because it could be taught to do so.
Is that the dog? He likes you.
During filming, there was a moment when Keanu could have killed the person he was acting with.
There was this one moment where I'm fighting someone, a stunt guy. They had a actual car coming by like over 25 miles an hour.
Okay.
I had to fight him, spot the car, and throw him into the moving car.
Whoa.
If I'm early, he's dead.
What? Why would they put their lives at risk in this set? Imagine how shocked Keanu was to hear that he had to do that action trick.
And I'm like, why are you guys doing this? And they were like, we trust you.
The reason is simple. The team did their best to make a great movie. Sure, these scenes look a little different on the set than they do in the movies, since the players aren't really hitting, shooting, and choking each other. I have to say that some of the scenes would look pretty strange without the special effects and sounds that are added after the filming is done. They're shooting each other, but there's no sound, so it makes the sequence look really funny. Do I have it right? Overall, most of the big scenes look very different if you watch the video before the CGI team does their work, like this weird-looking helicopter that follows John and his attackers in Chapter 3.
Second half of the motorcycle shinobi fight.
Or this carriage that or this scene where Keanu Reeves rides a horse with huge belts connected to his body. And he had to do it many times for different takes. I understand. This is how most great movies do it, but when you watch it on the big screen, you don't think about it, right? Another funny thing that happened behind the scenes of the movie John Wick was that there was something called Doggy Basic School.
With the actors, it's the same as when we start with the stunt guys. It starts with, very what we call doggy basic school. So the dog's around, here's the stunt guy's voice. We start the dog working beside them. We start the stunt guys doing some falling stuff or acting stuff beside the dog. And then we slowly integrate the two together.
After passing the final test, the dogs and humans were finally taken to the set to do some of John Wick's magic. Even though all the scenes were well rehearsed, something unexpected happened on set that no one in the John Wick team saw coming. There were so many cats roaming the streets that the dogs forgot they were in a movie when they saw them. It's not like they cared about it to begin with, right? And they'd start chasing them right away.
And so then we would be doing a scene and then cat, cat, cat! And then the dogs were just like, but the thing...
The actors in John Wick can do anything. They were ready for any action scene in a movie, except for one small detail, stunts. Yes, in many interviews, Keanu Reeves has said that he does all of his action but never does his tricks.
It's our first full CGI action sequence.
This is probably one of the most complicated visual effects sequences I've been involved in, purely from a choreography standpoint.
But he would never put his own life in danger because that could put the whole business in danger. Instead, action doubles do that, and Keanu is always kind enough to give them credit.
You did a lot of stunts in this film.
No stunts, I do some action.
Yeah.
Stunt people do stuff.
He's such a nice guy. It doesn't happen very often that a star thanks his acting doubles. Reeves wasn't the only player on the set who had to train a lot for his role, though. Adrienne Palicki, who played Ms. Perkins in the first movie, also practiced a lot to match her co-star.
Adrienne came to us with some fight experience. She moves really well. She gets the choreography really quick, and she's tough and doesn't complain. So she fit in well with the...
You may remember that the scene where they were fighting was pretty dramatic, but their hard work paid off because the scene looked great. Even though it was very hard, they still had time to laugh together. Yeah, these guys were having a lot of fun, but everyone knows that Keanu is known as the nicest guy in Hollywood.
All right. What is your secret for always staying down to earth? Well, I mean, gravity.
Lawrence Fishburne just recently talked about how he begged Keanu to be in the John Wick movies.
When I saw the first movie, which I wasn't in, I enjoyed it so much. I immediately reached out to Keanu. I was like, dude, all of our friends, all the guys that worked on the Matrix pictures, everybody's in the movie. You gotta hook me up.
And do you know what Keanu said? He is always there for his friends. You have to admit that it's great to see the two friends on TV again and again. Do you remember this behind-the-scenes photo with Mark Dacascos from Chapter 3? It looked cool in the movie, but it was actually pretty funny on the set. Oh, Keanu on the set of John Wick, it was hard not to like you. This guy showed his professionalism many times. Reeves trained for months to get in shape and do everything John Wick had to do in the movie. By training, I don't mean that he went to the gym for an hour a day or did push-ups in the morning. Reeves trained 5 days a week for 8 hours a day. He trained with guns and martial arts, to drive, and for many other things. Actors who do that much on set are rare. Keanu was always the first person to come and the last person to leave. That shows how serious he was. He's a real professional. Did you know that Keanu had a fever of 104 degrees while shooting the nightclub scene in the first movie? He still did most of his moves by himself like it was no big deal. He is such a great actor, right? But that doesn't mean that he's always right the first time.
I guess we can start here. Oh, it's not too bad.
Keanu didn't want to just sit back and do nothing while she trained her dogs. Instead, he offered to film a scene where John is riding a horse, and since he's John Wick, John agreed.
And he's not looking where he's shooting, because it's John Wick.
It wasn't just riding, that's clear, because he's John Wick. Keanu had to get off the horse while it was moving, go sideways, and keep riding while hanging onto the horse's neck. At the same time, he had to shoot someone. But let's get back to our dog friends. When you think of dogs in John Wick, you probably immediately think of Sophia's crazy pets. However, these noble animals were an important part of the whole John Wick series. After all, it all began with the sad story of a dog. When the movie producers read the script, they told the director that if the dog died right at the beginning of the movie, it would turn off the audience and no one would watch it. But they were so wrong because John was so likable because of this tragedy. Move on to Chapter 3, which is called Parabellum. We also have to say that Halle Berry was a tough cookie when it came to getting ready for her part.
When Halle said she wanted to do that, Chad said, "Here you go." And Halle said, "Thank you, sir."
She didn't even think twice when she was offered a job in John Wick. She didn't want to do anything like read a script. She immediately said yes. That's how badly she wanted to be in the world of John Wick. But of course, it wasn't easy for her to learn.
Probably the hardest 6-7 months I think I've experienced in my professional life. I kept